Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Pit Road Productions for the next round of the Niftylift Sportscar Series. We're here at the Circuit du Spa-Francorchamps for round 9, I believe, and we're looking forward to some fantastic GT3 Fixed action here at one of the world's most iconic racetracks. I'm Reese Gardner, Rob Campbell alongside me in the comms box and handling production behind the scenes live on the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel. Rob, I'm excited for this round. The field has been steadily growing round on round. We've got 15 cars in the session today.
Yeah, I was out there last week. Fortunately, I didn't give Zippy anything to rag on me about, so we've kind of turned the tables. He's out there this week, and hopefully he gives us something to beat him up on. But I look forward to a good one. As you said, the fields are growing. I recognize a couple more of the drivers in here that are fairly competitive in some of the other leagues I've been involved, Reese, so I think we're in for a real exciting one here at Spa.
Yeah, exactly. We've got plenty of drivers that have come in from a couple of different leagues that we broadcast here on PRP. Well, we're rapidly reaching the end of qualifying, so we should probably go through where we were and how we got here. We started in March at Daytona, going to Indianapolis, Watkins Glen, Red Bull Ring, Gilles Villeneuve, and Le Mans for the first half of the season. And then we came in for the round at Silverstone on the 14th of April. We raced at Fuji, and now we're at Spa, projected to go to Monza, Road Atlanta, and Sebring for the final rounds of the season in the next 3 weeks. So it's really a who's who of awesome GT3 racing circuits. In terms of the championship standings, we've got some very interesting goings on there as well, but for now, keep our eyes on the end of qualifying as Brian Zinn is topping the session. It's open qualifying out here, so all the drivers having to find their space here. Kalman Giori from the Aerokinetics team is one of the more successful drivers of the season, trying his best to keep up with the likes of Drew Trader. But we'll see what he can do, staying ahead of Trader by just a couple of tenths there, and setting a 2:19.3 on that lap, a couple of tenths off his current fastest. But it looks like a really good spread of cars that we're seeing here, Rob. I'm seeing quite a few McLarens and Corvettes, a few Mustangs, a Lamborghini, and a couple of Acuras as well. So, yeah, good spread of cars.
Yeah, it looks almost like a little bit of America versus the UK here with the brands out here we got tonight. Reese, we got a bunch of Fords, some Corvettes, the Acura brand of Honda in the American side. Then we got a bunch of McLarens. And then we got a couple of German machinery kind of mixed in a bunch amongst the rest there. So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of folds out here. I know the Acuras generally are fairly strong here, but it looks like a couple American muscle machinery up at the top of the standings right now with the Ford and the Corvette leading the way.
Yeah, indeed. It's the Mustang show up the front of the field here with Brian Zinn in the Maximum Effort Motorsports number 15 leading the way. Dylan Newhart in the Corvette is second in car 125. We're still waiting on 4 cars to set times here. Austin Diltz, Parker Dwim, Adam Capps, the league administrator here at the Niftylift Sportscar Series, and also Daniel Salmon, Zippy, has joined the grid for this one, as we mentioned, and he's decided to jump into the Lamborghini for this one. Tough car to drive, the Lambo. It's somewhat similar to the Audi R8. I think it tends not to enjoy the bumps all that much, but we'll see what time he can put down on the board.
Yeah, Zippy's got a bit of a love affair with the Lambo Reese, so no surprise he's out there. But right now, it looks like he's feeling a bunch of pressure from our current pole sitter, Brian Zinn. We do have it looks like an Audi going to join the grid, Matt Murphy. I'm not sure if we've seen a time. Oh, we do have a time from him, currently sitting in 11th spot. So we got a couple of V10 machinery on the field, and it's more or less the battle of the V8s as you look through the rest of the field with a couple of Acuras mixed in amongst there. But I've got the championship standings loaded in here now, Reese, if we wanted to take a quick look at where they're standing at this point in time.
Excellent. And then we can okay. There are no drivers and no points. Oh
Oh,
dear.
maybe we
Oh
don't.
no.
Zippy must have sent me
Oh.
an empty file.
Uh-oh.
That's
Well,
completely unlike him to do that.
well, I suppose we can move straight to highlighting and thanking the sponsors of this series as the qualifying ticks down. Zippy putting in a 2:21.0 to put himself last of the drivers who have set times only 400ths of a second behind Tim Fiedler. So there is going to be some competition at the back there. Well, we want to thank, of course, Niftylift for title sponsorship of the series, one of the largest manufacturers in Europe of mobile elevating work platforms, which are also known as cherry pickers. They sell throughout Europe, the USA, the Middle East, the Far East, Australia, and South Africa. They use advanced 3D modeling to optimize every aspect of their product design and ensure that every Niftylift work platform delivers outstanding performance without compromising on functionality or reliability. And we also have Elite Entertainment on board sponsoring this series. Are you ready to turn your event into an unforgettable experience? At Elite Entertainment, we bring superior quality that keeps the dance floor packed. Whether it's a wedding, corporate event, private parties, karaoke, or music bingo at your local venues, Elite Entertainment's professional DJs know how to set the perfect vibe. They cover Western North Carolina and Upstate South Carolina. So book now and let Elite Entertainment make your event memorable. Looking forward to a equally memorable event here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps as qualifying is now done. Everyone has done what they can in this session, and the grid will be as follows. Brian Zinn on pole position with Dylan Newhart alongside him on the front row. Kalman Giori and Drew Trader, series regulars, on the second row, and then Morgan Smith starts fifth alongside Pit Road Productions' own Richard Swindells. Fozzie Fazio is going to start alongside Luis Rios. Kyle Shelton and Dustin Wells round out your top 10, with Matt Murphy and Tim Fiedler 11th and 12th. In lucky 13th, it is Zippy on the mic. And alongside him will start Austin Diltz, with Parker Duim and Adam Capps, our series admin, rounding out the field. Now, we'll get ready to go here with a few car changes that have taken place for this round. Drew Trader is still in his Corvette, but Adam Capps, I've gotten used to seeing him in a McLaren, but he's decided to go for the Mercedes for this round.
Oh, interesting choice. I know the Mercedes generally is one of the GT3s with a nice high top speed, which is going to lend real well to the race here at Spa. We didn't see him put any time in qualifying, Reese. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to jump early ahead of Parker Dime and Austin Diltz, who are just ahead of him as well. Didn't put any qualifying time in, but it looks like they're going to be heading to the grid as we're just waiting for a couple cars here, and then we'll be heading underway.
Yep, short formation lap around Spa, starting on the run into Fanye, which is a fearsome sequence of S-bends there on the way down to Stavilo at the western end of the racetrack. Adam Capps did set a time in practice, a 2:21.4, and that is slower than anyone was able to manage in qualifying, so it remains to be seen what his race pace is actually going to be like here. Looks like the 2-minute grid timer is over, and we are rolling behind the iRacing safety car to get things going here and take a little tour around the second half, you could say, of the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. This is a very historic circuit, Rob. First opened in 1921, and it was originally an all-public road circuit. This sequence of the circuit that we're on at the moment was purpose-built in 1979, and as you come sweeping through Paul Frere Curve, check out the little sweep right here or so. This is the point where the circuit becomes the old public road track once again. It was officially closed to normal traffic in, I believe, 2007 with the most recent upgrades to the track. So it is a permanent circuit now, but with public road DNA.
I didn't actually know that they still had public access up until recently, Reese. So that's interesting to know. But I know the official iRacing GT4 series was running the new bike layout this week. I did a couple races in it, and you know what? I think I might actually like that layout better than the traditional layout we're running here tonight. That extra little cut instead of going all the way around. I think that's through No Name Curve. That nice little
Mm.
cut through there. It makes it flow a little better. But running the traditional layout here tonight, which is probably a little better for the GT3 cars versus the GT4 cars. Not quite the aero on the GT4 machinery, where the GT3 purpose-built race machines have a little more handling. But we're about to get underway here. Looks like we're going green.
Yep, green flag flies, and Ryan Zinn was immediately on the power here for the Niftylift Sportscar Series Round 9 at Spa. The Mustang leads the way into turn 1, and Kalman Giori already on Drew Trader there and passing him for third spot. Very solid run, but Trader's going to pressure him side by side into the fearsome Eau Rouge complex. Is not going to work out too well for these guys if they don't stay out of each other's way. They did slow each other up, and that allows Morgan Smith and the Mustang a chance. And Smith is boxed in a little bit, gets in the slipstream of Kalman Giori, could fire up the inside at Lacombe here at the end of the Kemmel Straight. This is where the purpose-built section of the racetrack begins, and they go through a beautiful flowing chicane, then through Malmedy. It's so important to get the exit right through here. Don't clamber too much over the curb, otherwise you'll get the off-track, and then down into another overtaking opportunity here at the Bruxelles corner. Just going down, down, down the hill, and it seems that Kalman Giori has gotten the run on Morgan Smith there, and he's starting to pressure Dylan Newhard for second spot. This has been a good first lap here for the Acura driver.
Yeah, nicely done by Kalman, able to fight off that advance by Morgan Smith up Eau Rouge and Radion. But now he's setting his sights, as you mentioned, up ahead of the Corvette of Dylan Newhard. But while the rest of our top 5 were battling, that's allowed Brian Zinn up front to open up almost a 2-second gap over second place Dylan Newhard. So he'd love to see some more battling taking place in his rearview mirrors and allow him to pull away. But looks like we got a battle a little farther back here. Dustin Wells trying to put some pressure on our own Richard Swindells, who's trying to chase down Fozzie Fazillo up ahead. Looks like Wells is going to make a move into the inside as they're starting to make their way towards Blanchimont. It'll be interesting to see if they're going to try 2x2 through their race.
Yeah, it won't be ideal going side by side through Blanchimont. Swindells yields, and behind them the same happens between Kyle Shelton and Austin Diltz here. Austin going to gain a bit in the braking zone as Zippy is already exploring the limitations of the Lamborghini's braking capabilities there, rounding them up a little into the chicane to end the first lap here. A 45-minute race scheduled at Spa, which is going to result in about 20 laps worth of racing, and we do have a pit stop on the cards as well. This is a fixed setup series with a fuel tank restriction, so they are going to have to stop for fuel at some point.
Yeah, fuel, no tires. Well, I didn't take any tires last week. I don't think anybody else took any tires as well, judging by the pit stop times that I was seeing. It's just a quick little splash test. I believe, if I remember correctly, we're running one of the endurance setups, so a little more of a fuel load than normally you would get in a lot of these sprint type races, race where they tend to limit the fuel at about 50%. I think we were running a little higher, so you can go run a little longer into the session before you have to duck in and get some fuel. But we see Kalman Giori going off wide there, feeling some pressure from Morgan Smith, trying to use up all the track width he could and a little more, but able to stay up ahead. But Smith's going to dive in the inside. They're going to touch. Around goes Giori.
Oh dear, and he's going to, usually it's advisable to hold the brakes, but I think Giori had the right idea there. Just roll off the racetrack out of the way of everybody. So a bit of contact there as he went wide in Bruxelles. Morgan Smith was already pressuring him through Lacombe, but yeah, a little bit too deep for Giori. Smith sees the door open, and then Giori tries to cut back in, but unfortunately the two come together, and that may be a potential penalty hanging over Morgan Smith's head for future rounds, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Dylan Newhard still holding strong in second spot. He is not under as much pressure now that Giori is out of the picture. Newhard's one of the drivers that that runs a bit of a different livery for every round, and he likes to paste faces all over his car. Last time out, it was Max Verstappen that was all over his car, and now it looks like Jack Black as Minecraft Steve.
Oh, we'll have to see if we can get a real good up close look. I believe you are correct, Reese. There's definitely a Jack Black action there. A little harder to see than last week's Max Verstappen, but anybody who's seen Jack Black's big old head on the silver screen would definitely recognize that out there.
Yeah, feeling hungry for a lava chicken. In any case, Austin Diltz here involved in a 3-car battle, and he's got Swindells up the inside of him here at La Source, but the wider exit should benefit the McLaren, at least in the short term. See if the likes of Kyle Shelton behind will be able to take advantage of these two. Swindell's running a Trackhouse-inspired livery on the Acura for this one. We saw him, I believe, in a Porsche for the last round at Fuji. Not entirely sure. My memory is not serving me well there. But what we can say for sure is that's a pass there. And a spin for Dustin Wells. Patrick Starr goes around, and unfortunately, that's going to be all the way to the back of the grid there. Only car behind him is actually Zippy, and I'm not sure what's happened to Zippy there. He's all the way down to last. He lost bulk time on the previous lap. Looks like a problem here at Blanchimont. The rear end let go on the Lamborghini. That's a huge crash for our usual producer here on this series.
Yeah, Zippy's going to be thanking his stars that he has a quick repair and be able to get a new front end on that car. That was a massive hit, but looks like Parker Dime trying to fake and bake Kyle Shelton up ahead, bobbing left, bobbing right. Shelton not buying it. Dime's going to have to tuck back in, trying to advance somewhere else, but they got Richard Swindell just up ahead. So we got, say, about 4 cars tightly packed here, Reese, with Fozzie Fazzillo leading the way, or sorry, that's Austin Diltz, the purple WBM car up ahead, leading Richard Swindell's Kyle Shelton and Parker Dime in this 4-car battle for 7th place.
Yeah, things are starting to look interesting in the battle for 7th. The closest gap on the circuit is, in fact, between Kyle Shelton and Parker Dime there, as the Mustang continues to try and catch them up. Battle in 4th place for the moment for Drew Trader. He's caught back up to Morgan Smith, but Luis Rios in the McLaren is looking quite quick. Lewis has been staying in the McLaren for pretty much the whole season as things stand, and he's finding his way through nicely. Started in 8th, qualified in 5th. The hard charger at the moment looks to be Austin Diltz with 14th to 7th run so far. So he should be very happy with the way he has encountered the first stint of this race.
Yeah, nice run so far for Diltz. I'm actually surprised that we got 3 McLarens kind of log jammed in 5th, 6th, and 7th. The McLaren Reese, if I remember correctly from when I've been driving it, it's one of the quicker GT3s in a straight line along with the Mustang. It's usually at the high speed tracks, really kind of shows its worth out there. So I'm surprised that the McLarens are mired a little back more in midfield, and there's a couple Corvettes out front. The Corvette, not necessarily known as a top speed machine. It's kind of a jack of all trades, but a master of none out there. It's not great in braking, not great top speed, not overly great in the corners either, but it's just good enough in each one of those facets to kind of find its way to the top of the field in most races, and it's showing that so far.
Yeah, that's what we love about GT3. Variety of machinery. Every car has its own advantages and disadvantages. You can make great use of that at a variety of circuits. Adam Capps here, series administrator, and he's starting to gain a bit here on Tim Fiedler and Matt Murphy. Caps's pace has been sort of around about the high 221s or so. Fiedler a little bit quicker than him on the last lap, but the Mercedes deep throaty rumbling V8 is going to serve him well here on the straights. Also chasing down the Audi of Matt Murphy in car number 85. Looks like a change for 6th place up ahead. Austin Diltz has made up another position getting past Fozzie Fazio in the final couple of corners.
Yeah, it looks like Dilts was able to make a move around teammate Fazillo into the final corner. Looks like he had to run. Not going to get much of a battle from Fazillo as they are teammates. We actually see them in our Thursday night racing on Pit Road Production. So we're going to see them on Mondays and Thursdays, it looks like. But that's how Dilts was able to get in and around Fazillo. And now we'll see if the two of them can work together, try and chase down Luis Rios up ahead. He's got 2.8 seconds over Dilts right now. Again, we still have those 3 McLarens in line, but we'll see if Dilts is able to extract a little more speed than we've seen Fazillo and Rios able to muster to this point.
Yeah, wait and see what Austin Dilts is like in clear air as well. This is the first time he hasn't had a car right in front of him. He's not going to get the benefit of the slipstream for a bit, but if he manages to nail the middle sector of the lap, then he should be able to make some kind of campaign to move forward, maybe into the top 5. Check back up to 3rd place, Morgan Smith. Still got the incident for Kalman Giori hanging over his head there, as looks like it was Rios going off into the gravel on the exit of No Name. And Drew Trader, one of the top drivers in the championship, has been here since the opening rounds of the series, handling himself nicely for a solid run and 4th in his Corvette.
Yeah, I think Drew won, the Drew win last week, if I remember correctly, Reese. So he was strong at Fuji. I'm trying to remember who else was just up ahead that I was trying to chase down at the end, but they got far enough ahead of me at the end. I wasn't able to chase them down. Strong showing by Drew last week at Fuji. Looks like he's going to try and put forth another strong effort again this week at Spa, utilizing that Corvette the best he can. Right now it's a Ford versus Chevy battle in the top 4. Ford taking 2 out of the 3 top spots on the podium right now, holding the bragging rights with Zinn out front. He's now got, looks like, about 1.6 seconds over Dylan Newhart. Newhart's been slowly working to close that gap the last couple laps, Reese. I know Zinn, once they were battling for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, he was able to open up a bit of a gap over the rest of the field, but it looks like Newhart slowly clawing that back.
Yeah, looks like it. Newhart running a very good lap there, 2:18.8. Compare that to a 2:19.2 for Brian Zinn, a, 3.5 gain, it looks like, at least there for Dylan Newhart. So he'll be steadily creeping up on that Mustang. Zinn got off to a very good start. In the opening few laps, it seemed like the Mustang was nigh unbeatable, but I think now that we're in the rhythm of the race, the Corvette's starting to come back at him. Swindells, meanwhile, looking at a position in the top 7, having a look at Fazillo there. And he faded to the inside, but it looks like Fozzie was right on it there, and turned in knowing that Swindells wouldn't be alongside him, but I feel like there is a big move brewing.
Yeah. Swindells right now looks like he's in a WBM sandwich as it stands right now, Reese, but trying to advance out the front, but a little slower through that section for Swindells. He's kind of fallen into the clutches of Parker Dime. We'll see if Dime makes a move. He doesn't make the move here now, but Swindells is going to go wide. That's going to cost him a 1X. And Dime getting a much better run in that Mustang around the outside. He should make this pass in the next braking section. Looks like Swindells going to give it to him and tuck in behind. He's going to move Parker Dime up 7 spots now into P8.
Yeah, nice move. That's how you get it done into Farnier. Swindells a little deep into Pouon there, the double left-hander coming down the hill, which is very easy to do. It's a blind corner on the way in, and it's one of the fastest on the circuit, so it's easy to make a mistake. Well, battle for 5th. Once again, Austin Dilts is closing in on Luis Rios. The 2 McLarens through Blanchimont, just on the edge of grip there through one of the fastest turns on this racetrack, and more time being made up in the braking zone for the number 6 occupying P6. Looks like Fozzie has been passed by Parker Dime now. The Mustang finding its way back ahead into P7, and it looks like Swindells is going to get Fozzie coming into turn 1 here, side by side on the way in, but Fozzie is defensive, forcing Swindells to take the long way around. going to be another go here for our IndyCar specialist.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of legs that Acura has, but I've made mention of it on our Tuesday night racing where we focused 2 GT3 leagues back-to-back, one fixed setup, one open setup, and in both of those series, the Acuras generally tend to not have the best top speed, usually down a little bit compared to the McLarens and the Mustangs. But with that draft, you can see the Acura of Swindell is able to get alongside, but not quite enough overrun to make the pass at the top of Kemmel Straight. Oh, he's going to go wide. That's definitely going to be a slowdown for Swindell's, but we'll see. He's going to pull back ahead of Fazillo, but I suspect Fazillo will make the move around here now as Swindell's has to serve that slowdown.
Has he slowed down in time to defend the move, though? It actually looks like he has. The slowdown is cleared, and so I don't know if Fozzie Fazillo is going to be too happy with that. Swindell's went off track to make the pass, and he was able to hold on to the place, which is a bit of an interesting sequence of events right there.
Lewis Hamilton would be on the radio to Bono right now requesting a review of that move race. So we'll have to see how that plays out later. We'll see if Fazillo protests it. I thought for sure he was going to have a much longer slowdown than that for the amount of track cut, but well played by Swindell's, although like you said, Fazillo probably not going to be all though happy that Swindell's came back onto the race line to serve that slowdown, but hats off to him if he's able to clear it in time and not really hold up Fazillo at all.
I guess Swindell's justification for it would be that he was technically ahead of Fazillo when he went off the racetrack. He was on the brakes super late, and you know, it is possible at Lacombe to get on the brakes even later around the outside and get the move done that way. So maybe he feels justified in keeping the position as a result, but we'll see if our administrators have anything to say about that at the conclusion of this event. Regardless, Swindell's is by and into 8th. And the battle between Luis Rios and Austin Diltz continuing here. Who has the best exit out of the La Source hairpin at turn 1? Running down the hill towards Eau Rouge, the kink at the bottom of the hill, then up through Radion, and then to the top of the hill. One of the most iconic corner sequences in motorsport, and these GT3s can take that flat out, as can, let's be honest, most cars nowadays. But it translates into a very nice run for Austin Diltz, and up the inside at Lacombe, he will get the move done on Luis Rios.
Yeah, nicely done by Diltz. I thought he might make the move lap before. He caught up to Rios fairly quickly, those 2 McLarens. Well, obviously they're running the same setup. They're going to be evenly paced, but Diltz was running almost a half second quicker than Rios once he caught him. But I noticed it's like Daniel Zippy Salmon has left the building and he's joined the broadcast booth, kind of lurking behind. I see there's a last gas crash here. Let's take a look at what happened to our fearless leader here to force him to call it a day here, Reese.
Yeah, he's here in the comms box with us now. Zippy, you decided to race this this sequence, and looks like you might have called it a night there at Lacombe after your crash.
Yeah, it just went and span out on me. No warning. Didn't meatball it, but it definitely sucked, and I didn't have pace anyway. So, yeah, early retirement was a good plan on that one.
Yeah, and you're feeling a bit under the weather as well, so I suppose you're grateful for the opportunity for some more rest.
I feel the way I look, Reese. We'll leave it at that.
All right, well...
you guys would love that
one. Some would suggest there's a children's character television show that might resemble the way you look right now, Zippy. Jim Henson might be the lead director.
I don't get it.
You look like a Muppet. Dear.
Cookie Monster. If anything, I'm a Cookie Monster.
Yeah, sounding a bit like Cookie Monster as well. Well, Zippy, thanks very much for joining us up here. Commiserations for your incident, and big old get well soon from us up here in the booth.
Thanks, buddy. I do cheer the fact I get a wicked pass on Austin Diltz at the start. That was like the highlight of a brief race at Spa. But definitely, guys, make sure you ding me after you're done so I can hit the off button.
Of course, no trouble at all. For now, we'll turn our focus back to Parker Dime here. He's looking to try and make up another position too. Again on Luis Rios, but the McLaren is a bit deeper coming into Lacombe and will defend the position, but a bit of oversteer on the way out. Don't want to heat up those tyres too much. And I think Rios would be grateful for the traction control kicking in at just the right moment there. But these Mustangs are certainly quick here in Belgium.
Yeah, we're seeing Parker Dime up 8 spots now, moving through the field relatively quickly once he catches them. But he's going to have to really work to get around that McLaren. Kind of equal on top speed here, but the McLaren a bit of an animal on exiting out of low-speed corners. It really wants to break loose the rear traction. You got to kind of gather it up. We saw that happen with Rios a few corners back, where he tried to get into the throttle a little heavier, a little earlier than he really wanted to, feeling the pressure from Parker Dime. Had to back out for a second, gather the car back up, but he's been able to hold off Dime at this point in time. Should be just a matter of time, I think, before Parker Dime might possibly try and make a move out of the exit through Blanchemont into the final set of corners.
Yeah, all about picking up the slipstream and trying to get as close as you possibly can. Looked like the McLaren was pretty good on the exit there, but you can see the gap physically getting smaller, and Dime is using all of the track he possibly can. With the repaving of the asphalt runoff at that section, you are able to run all the way out, almost over the white line, on the way to Blanchemont, and widen the entry to the corner. That would have helped him there. Straightens it up nicely on the exit of the chicane as well. Further behind, it looks like Acura versus McLaren there. That, I believe, is Kalman Giori that's made up a position. He is back into the top 10 after his unfortunate coming together with Morgan Smith in the opening laps here. This is how he got the move done at the chicane. Nice and deep on the brakes, and was able to pull it up for the apex.
Yeah, the Acura, one of the better braking GT3s that we just saw in action there, versus the McLaren. Not one of the greater GT3s as far as braking prowess, but a little more top speed. So it's interesting to see whether Fazillo is able to try and draft back by Giori into the end of Kemmel Straight here. Not popping out so far. There it is. There, he's going to try and fake him. Not enough overrun to make the move. Giori's going to hold on to that spot. We know Giori had the speed starting up at the front of the pack, so we're interested to see with about half of the race still to go here, Reese, if he can try and move himself back up into possibly the top 5.
Yeah, potentially. And I can see that there's a possibility for Austin Dilts to move into the top 4 here. He's caught up to Drew Trader. So the Corvette will need to pull out all the stops in order to keep this hard-charging McLaren behind. Remember, Austin Dilts started all the way back in 14th. Parker Dime started back in 15th, and those guys are running 4th and 6th respectively now. So they're certainly going to be happy with their race pace here. Don't forget, though, we are now past the halfway point of the race in terms of time elapsed, so I think it'll be time for pit stops shortly as Trader gets into the gravel trap off the exit of Paul Frere Curve. And that's going to be the move done for Austin Dilts, I believe. He's ahead on the way into Blanchemont, and Trader will have no choice but to just bleed out of the throttle a little bit and allow the McLaren by. Dilts now gaining 10 places in this race.
Yeah, nicely done by Austin Dilts on a bit of a mission, but I was wondering if Drew Trader was going to be able to hold off Dilts. It looked like he didn't really lose a whole lot of time going out wide through the gravel trap there, Reese. Looked like he was able to keep up the speed, just not quite enough of the pace to hold off Dilts. So we'll see if he can tuck in behind Dilts. I believe the two of them have enough speed that they might be able to chase down Morgan Smith up ahead. Morgan only about 3.5 seconds ahead of these two cars. And last time by, Dilts with a 219 flat to Morgan Smith's 219.48. So they're running about half a second quicker. And if they keep up that pace in another 3 laps, they could be right on the tailpipe of Morgan Smith.
Yeah, looking like it. Nearly half a second being gained on the last lap, but the gap is around about 3 seconds at the moment, so I think it might have to be half done through the pit cycle at this point. Oh, I see some tracks through the gravel there. Looks like Smith might have gone through it just a little.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hurt his attempt at staying ahead of these two, but up ahead, it looks like Brian Zinn starting to leg out a little more over Dylan Newhard. Dylan Newhard falling back to about 2.1 seconds. Might be in a little bit of a fuel conservation mode for these two drivers here. They've got enough of a gap where they can kind of lift and coast a little bit more to try and save some fuel, but I'm looking at their last lap times, both of them into the 2:18s. So I suspect there's not a whole lot of fuel saving going on here, Reese, but if it was me with that kind of gap, I think I'd try and take advantage of that gap, doing a little more lift and coast, take advantage of a quicker pit stop time to hold yourself out front.
Yeah, potentially. I suppose the other side of the coin is you're going to have to take the same amount of fuel to get to the end, whether or not you fuel save, it being only a single pit stop. So I think just able to get maybe a little bit less fuel in the car in the stop because of the fuel tank cap. We'll see how it all works out. It's definitely a lot easier to oh, there we go. There's our first caller to the pit lane, and it is Austin Diltz and Morgan Smith that have both gone in. First callers to the lane. We'll see if anyone follows them in here, or it's just going to be them on their own on the way into pit lane. It looks like we're seeing Kamanguri stay out. Kyle Shelton staying out as well. I don't think we're going to be seeing anyone else in the pits on this lap.
Yeah, it looks like just the two WBM teammates of Morgan Smith and Austin Diltz. So it looks like Tim Fiedler a little farther back in the fields popped in too as well. So our first of our kind of lead of the pack, Morgan Smith, Austin Diltz coming in for their service. So we'll have to see what their pit times looks like in the box times, about just over 15 seconds for the two of them. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as the rest of the field starts to cycle through.
We did see Matt Murphy come into the pits as well. He had a quicker pit stop than these two, 13.8 seconds. I think he's used a bit less fuel than them, running a bit further up the back of the field. So we'll see how that works out with him versus Tim Fiedler as well, who's just taken his first stop too. So the WBM guys not the only ones to come in here. But aside from them, it's mostly drivers who are running towards the rear of the field, getting their pit stops done here. So let's see what kind of response we'll see from the likes of Zinn, Newhard, Trader, and Dime here. A bit of clear air for everyone except Brian Zinn, I suppose. He's had clear air the whole way around, and he's had the luxury of basically just doing hot laps up at the front of the field. Is this going to be enough for him to keep that lead when the pits are complete?
Yeah, we'll see if the two leaders heading in around through Blanchemont now, we'll see if the WBM cars of Smith and Diltz triggered the pit stop cycle for our leaders too as well, or if they keep going out. Looks like Zinn going to come in for sure. Looks like Newhard's going to follow him.
All right. In they come. And now it's a battle of the pit crews in the pit lane, and whether or not you'll be able to pull it up to your box in short order. Looks like Parker Dime coming in just behind them as well. Drew Trader responding too. It looks like everyone's coming into the pit lane on this lap. They've decided to go for that extra lap out there just to try and take advantage of a slightly lighter car and maybe make up time on Smith and Diltz, who have fully fueled up and have a bit more mass to throw around through these corners. Well, here comes Smith down the start-finish straight. Parker Dime's pit stop is complete up the front of the field, and it actually looks like a very quick stop indeed from Parker. He's 14.2 seconds. Zinn will resume running at the front of the field with Newhart now 3 seconds behind him. So it looks like Brian Zinn has actually extended his advantage through the pit cycle.
Yeah, nice quick stop from Zinn, but it looks like Diltz and Dime have actually come out a little closer to Morgan Smith than where they were falling behind. So that one extra lap might have been the better play for them, running one extra lap on low fuel, able to put in a real hot lap. But meanwhile, Morgan Smith was able to utilize that lap get his tires back up to temp. So we'll see if he's able to open that gap back up. But it was about 3.5 seconds before Dilts and company came in. Now only 2.8 seconds separates Morgan Smith and Austin Dilts.
It certainly does. Now we await the final 15 minutes of this race as breaking back into the top 10 is Kalman Giori, but Fozzie Fazillo right on the back of him. Kalman's pit stop was a bit slower than others, 15.9 seconds, and Fazillo under 15 seconds stopped in the box. And the times from pit entry to pit exit also falling in the favor of everyone except Kalman in the top 10. But the longest time through pit lane was in fact Drew Trader, 37 seconds from entry to exit. And our top three were all 35 seconds entry to exit. So Trader has really lost out here in the pit cycle. He is back down to 6th spot. And I'm waiting to see if there's going to be any increase in pace from him here, because at the moment it looks like Parker Dime might be getting a bit of a run on him here.
Yeah, definitely. Trader was pressuring the back of Dime. Actually, he was able to stay with him once Dime got around him and holding on to the back end. But Trader, as I mentioned earlier, our winner last week, so we know he's got the pace. We'll be able to see if he's able to kind of muscle anything out of that Corvette, as he's got a bunch of Fords up ahead and another McLaren just ahead of Austin Dilts and Parker Dime. So we're actually seeing Dilts starting to pull away from Dime too as well. Dime wasn't too far back of Dilts to the pit cycle too as well, but Dilts closing down that gap on Morgan Smith up ahead, took another 0.3 out of it that lap. So Morgan Smith going to have to start focusing on what's coming up in his mirrors here shortly, as Dilts is coming, and he's coming fast.
Yep, hardest charger in the field, Austin Dilts. And comparing lap times, Dilts 0.2 of a second faster than Morgan Smith on the last lap. Projected about 6 laps to go when they cross the line next. And gap between them 2.1 seconds. So it looks like he's going to have to rely on a mistake from Smith to really get in on that action.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see once he starts to get into draft range if he can get Smith to start driving looking out of his rear view mirrors versus looking out of the windshield. But our leader Brian Zinn just kind of on cruise control now after the pit cycle, able to open up another second gap over Dylan Newhart. The two of them with a 7-second gap over third place Morgan Smith, Dylan Newhart in second place. And so they just got a comfortable gap up ahead, Reese. No real need for them to try and push for hot laps. Just going to maintain this pace, and they should be able to bring home a nice tidy P1 and P4. But looks like we got a battle a little further back between Adam Capps and Matt Murphy brewing for that is 12th place on the grid.
Yeah, Adam Capps, fresh out of the pits, 1 lap down on his stint, and Murphy was the first driver to take a pit stop in this race. He is 3 laps into his stint at the moment. The tyres will be fired back up again on that Audi. Of course, GT3 tyres being what they are, they can easily last an hour. So there'd be no need to take tyres in the pit stop. It would cost you a lot of time if you do. So just cool down for a little bit in the Audi and then back up to temperature. A little bit of relief in the shadows there on the cooler parts of this racetrack. And it's a pretty cool track out there. It's sort of late afternoon virtual standard time, coming up to 5:30 p.m. And it's only a 22 degrees Celsius track. So there's a lot of pace in the circuit right now. Air temperature only 19. So it's a brisk afternoon in virtual Belgium. Morgan Smith will be happy for that, because that extra grip allowing him to be confident in his inputs and stay ahead of Austin Dilts, though Dilts has gotten the margin inside 2 seconds now.
Yeah, I know the two of these drivers are good buddies. Generally, they will see them in the chat if one's racing in a league race and the other one isn't, cheering them on. So no doubt Morgan's going to be trying to push as much as he can to try and stay ahead of his buddy Austin. But right now, Austin really trying to put the pedal to the metal, as they would say, and try and chase down Morgan Smith up ahead. But the rest of our field fairly spread out now. Race after the pit cycles kind of opened up 1 to 2 second gaps between most of the field. Luis Rios with a couple seconds over Richard Swindells. Drew Trader had a 1.5 over Luis Rios up ahead of him. So not a whole lot of battles going on other than that battle we're still seeing here between Adam Capps and Matt Murphy, and Austin Diltz trying to chase down Morgan Smith.
Yeah, so this is the closest fight on the circuit at the moment. Can Adam Capps get out of lucky 13th position is the question. Carrying a lot of speed through the first apex of Fanier, but that's one of those sequences where you need to sort of compromise the right-hander to open up the left, and that gives you a good run into Stavilo. The Mercedes is a car that I do enjoy myself. It's probably the GT3 car of the current lot that I have the most mileage in, which is to say, not very much, full stop. I'm usually not a GT3 driver. These cars don't agree with me 100%, but I do enjoy that front engine rear wheel drive layout of the Mercedes, and it's more of a front mid-engine layout in the Mercedes. The engine's actually behind the front axle to improve the weight distribution of the car. So it feels like you're driving a, I don't know, a steam locomotive at times with the amount of car that's in front of your driving position.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. I want to say it's Daniel Morad.
Oh, we lost power.
Apologies for some technical issues on the production side. We will return here to the Niftylift Sportscar Series Round 9 to bring you the final lap of this race. There's 45 seconds remaining on the clock, and Brian Zinn has continued to hold on to a very solid lead over Dylan Newhart. The battle starting to eventuate between Morgan Smith and Austin Diltz. And looks like the slipstream is there for the McLaren. This could be a change between the Sapphire Simsport WBM guys. And this is, this is going to be quite the final lap between these two. The white flag out. And Zinn leads by 2.8 seconds over Dylan Newhart. Smith trying to keep his spot on the podium here. Austin Diltz has remained in 4th for the time being. They have left Parker Dime behind. Drew Trader holding on to a solid gap over Luis Rios. The battle still happening between Fozzie Fazillo and Kyle Shelton as they make their way through onto the final lap in the battle for 10th place. And Adam Capps has succeeded in getting past Matt Murphy. Looks like Tim Fiedler has managed to get past him as well. That's the change in there for 12th, 13th, and 14th. Here comes Morgan Smith and Austin Diltz in their final campaign here to try and get a car on the podium. The question being, which car? Little look from Diltz there on the final lap. But it doesn't look like there's going to be much of a chance here, at least until they get to Fanier. Another opportunity to make up some time for the McLaren. Defense from Kyle Shelton there, actually from Fazillo, as it looks like the switch has been made between the WBM cars. Austin Diltz has gotten past Morgan Smith and onto the podium. This is how it happened, and it was straight up running wide into the gravel trap out of no name for Morgan Smith. So it all came down to that one little error there for Morgan, just too deep into the corner, losing that pace, and the McLaren was right there to take advantage. Well, we should give our victor his dues. Brian Zinn finding his way towards the final chicane. And it has been a practically flawless race here for the number 15 Mustang. Qualified on pole, did not look back, has kept that lead of over 2 seconds for the majority of this race. And it will be a well-earned victory for Brian Zinn in the Niftylift Sportscar Series Round 9. Dylan Newhart finishing in second place. Another strong finish for him. But look at this between Austin Diltz and Morgan Smith. There's a bit of a drag race to the line. Smith was keeping Diltz honest all the way to the end there. The gap between them in the end, 0.2 of a second. Wait back for Parker Dime, who ended up losing 3 seconds on that lap there. Drew Trader almost getting in touch with him. Rios and Swindells will finish in 7th and 8th. Kalman Giori, after getting spun in the opening laps, recovering to a solid 9th place. And Fozzie Fazillo managing to keep Kyle Shelton at bay there. Last couple of finishes will be yet to come across the line. Got to wait for Adam Capps in the Mercedes. Started dead last, up to 12th. Some gains to be made there. And Tim Fiedler was trying to make gains on him on the final lap as well. Last driver across the line will be Dustin Wells. Matt Murphy, it looks like, has run out of fuel. So his decision to pit a lap before anyone else, not working out for him in the final stages. That Audi crawling across the line. Dustin Wells, unfortunate spin that he suffered at Le Combe, and he will be the last finisher here at Spa. And that's going to be the end of runnings here for the Niftylift Sportscar Series in its 9th round. 3 more rounds to go after this. Results then. Brian Zinn finishing 2.4 seconds ahead of Dylan Newhart, with Diltz completing the podium there all the way up from 14th. That is an incredible drive. 11 positions gained. Morgan Smith finishes in 4th, with Parker Dime gaining 10 spots to finish in 5th place. Drew Trader going to finish in 6th, ahead of Luis Rios and the number and the 8th place car of Richard Swindells, who's showing up as Greg Millen on there for some reason.
It's a usual
Kalman
circumstance.
Giori will finish in 9th place, ahead of Fozzie Fazillo, who rounds out the top 10. Shelton finishes in 11th spot, with Capps, Fiedler, Murphy, and Wells your finishers. Daniel Salmon, unfortunately, retiring from the race early on, but when Rob Campbell had those technical issues, he's jumped in to produce the end of the show here. So big thanks to Zippy for getting the job done there. Well, now we wait to see if any of the drivers are going to join us for a chat after this race. But I have to say, another good round of the Niftylift Sportscar Series. Some excitement happening throughout the runnings here, and always good to see more cars on the grid. Really happy to see the racing that we saw today. And we can't forget that we'll be going to some pretty iconic tracks towards the end of the season as well. Well,
I think we got some coming, Reese.
For some drivers to jump in for interviews. And it looks like the first driver to join us is going to be our victor, Brian Zinn, in the Mustang. Well, Brian, the Mustang looked incredibly quick here today. You were able to get out to a 2.3 second lead, and it was all about just managing the pace, it looks like.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary of it. I wasn't sure how the Mustang was going to do around here, but felt good in practice and said, why not? I'll take a flyer on it.
Worked out for you very nicely. Qualifying on pole and not looking back. Was there any point during the race where you felt like you were under pressure?
Yeah, actually, about a little before halfway through, Dylan kind of clawed back within second and a half or so, and I was like, it was right about the time the front tires were starting to scream for some mercy on that car. So I was trying to manage, do a little bit of fuel saving, and then the tires came back to me, and I was able to build back up to almost a 2-second gap before getting into the pits. But yeah, all credit to Dylan. He kept the pressure on, even though it didn't look that close. I'm sure on the outside, but looking at the relative in the car, it was he was keeping it on me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, can we expect you here next week for the next round of the championship? We are going to one of the other stereotypical GT3 tracks in the form of Monza.
Yeah, I got recommended this league by a friend of mine, and enjoyed my first time out. So I think I'm going to try and make the rest of these races for the rest of the season.
But with your pace, I'm sure that we're going to be seeing some great results come from you in the final 3 rounds. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go, Brian?
Yeah, shout out to Rob Campbell for letting me know about this great league and getting me all set up. Yeah.
Well, big thanks for joining us, Mr. Zinn, and yeah, enjoy your victory celebrations.
Cheers, guys.
That was Brian Zinn there, and joining us is second place, Dylan Newhard, car 125. You have Jack Black on the livery for this round, Dylan. It looks like it gave you some great pace.
Yeah, it did. It definitely. I think that was the difference maker to beat out some of the other guys, but couldn't quite keep on with Brian. He was very quick, and unfortunately slid on the first lap, kind of took me out of the draft. But other than that, it was super consistent, super fun.
Yeah, the Corvette seemed to be a good performer here at Spa. The mid-engine layout helping you through the faster corners. Obviously, the gap to third extended quite a bit over the course of the race. Was it just eyes forward for you the whole way, or were you looking at the cars behind you at any point?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I was eyes forward the whole time, just trying to keep with Brian. I got close at a couple points, but then made a small mistake and fell off out of the draft again. But yeah, I think the only time I was looking back was when the spotter was calling out the gap.
Monza, the next round of the championship. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for slipstreaming and outbraking into that first chicane.
Yeah, the Corvette might not be quite as good around Monza. The Mustangs definitely got the straight line speed on me. But, you know, the slipstream will definitely help a lot there, I feel. And who knows, maybe we can make something happen.
Indeed, maybe you'll have to paste an Italian actor's face all over your car for the next round to get you those extra couple of tenths, Dylan. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks Reese and Zippy for casting this. It looks like Rob couldn't finish it out, but thanks to him as well. And that's all. Thank you guys again.
Dylan Newhard there from second place in car 125. And the final driver we're going to have a chat to here is Austin Diltz, who managed to get onto the podium on the final lap. You were chasing down Morgan ever since that pit cycle, Austin, and the McLaren looked pretty good around here.
Yeah, felt good too.
Yeah, it was a solid race from you. Qualifying obviously not going your way, starting from 14th place, so it was a charge up the field from lap 1.
Oh yeah, Parker and I decided to start from the back and just see what we could do. And yeah, the Maka, the fixed setup's kind of cheating. It really pulls on the straight, so you're able to get into the draft. You can just kind of walk people. It's kind of like a cheat code.
Yeah, the straight line speed was definitely evident whenever we were looking at a McLaren. So You guys are obviously new to Niftylift for this round of the championship, and with only 3 rounds to go, I think that's a perfect invitation for you guys to continue running in this championship.
I mean, personally, I'm going to make as many races as I can, but I have a 1-month-old baby, so it's tough to coordinate getting in the rig. It's kind of collecting dust nowadays. I'm usually in the live stream just kind of supporting Morgan and Parker and Fozzie and the guys that are racing.
Well, plenty of pace on board with you, so if you're ever pulled away for dad duties, at least you'll be able to get the race done quickly. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go, Austin?
Oh yeah, have to have a huge shout out to my wife. She was embarrassed, but have to shout that sexy mama out. She's doing a great job. And the WBM guys and you guys for doing a great broadcast. So thank you.
Thanks very much for joining us, Austin Diltz, and hopefully see you again next time.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, that's our podium done. And, Zippy, if you're joining me here for the final runnings of this broadcast, another great round of the Niftylift Sportscar Series. 3 rounds to go after this. Monza next week. It's going to be fun.
Oh, for sure. It's all right, guys. I won't be driving the next one. Just definitely not feeling the best. And then we do apologise where we lost the stream for a little bit now. Rob generally is a man who can get the job done, and this was completely out of his control. He lost power in the whole neighbourhood, and the way I described it is, while he may be a god, he is not for, although he might have the packs for it. You guys can work that out on your own, but certainly I love Austin Dills roasted me saying he's got a kid, because that's an ongoing joke here with WBM. But I don't know, so Austin didn't mention my superb pass on him in turn 1, but that's fine. But Reese, I don't have much of a voice left. If you'd like to do the honours, sir, I'm pretty much smoked.
Of course. Big thanks once again to our sponsors, Niftylift and Elite Entertainment here, bringing you this 9th round of the Niftylift Sportscar Series. Thanks to Rob Campbell for handling production of the broadcast until, as we said, circumstances outside of his control completely kicked him into space, as it were. And big thanks to Daniel Zippy Salmon for having a drive, providing us some entertainment, and then helping to deliver the entertainment on the final lap. I'm Reese Gardner with Rob Campbell and Daniel Salmon alongside me in the comms box and producing behind the scenes here on Pit Road Productions for the Niftylift Sportscar Series. We'll see you next time.
Niftylift is a manufacturer of aerial work platforms.
A very innovative, green-conscious company. No other manufacturer makes anything quite like it.
Located in Greer, South Carolina.
We handle all of North America, where we house parts and machines, service backup, marketing, sales support.